Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Jordy. I'm here to do a general overview of the suit of Pentacles. This is a tarot lesson looking at numbers 1 through 10 in the minor arcana of Pentacles, Earth energy, as well as the court cards, Page, Knight, Queen, King, and major arcana that are associated with zodiac signs that are Earth signs. So we're going to mostly focus on the minor arcana, and we'll start with the ace, move through from 1 to 10. Then we'll talk about the court cards that follow, and then we'll finish by rounding off and talking about some energies that are associated with the major arcana that have earth energy attached to them. So I hope you're having a beautiful week. I hope this message finds you well and healthy. These tarot lessons are designed to be, the most authentic version of tarot reading that I can give you. Every reader has their own style, their own take, their own interpretations of the cards, and there's a lot of trends and trends to what people see with tarot card reading, especially on YouTube. But as you work with the tarot deck, you start to, weave in your own experience and your own creative interpretations of the cards. And then when you start looking at card combinations, like for example an Ace of Pentacles and a Six of Pentacles, then you tap into, even more messages than you thought were possible. So my best tip for you, for those of you who are still in the beginning stages of learning to read tarot, is to study each of the individual card meanings and try to familiarize yourself with each of the cards. And then as you work with them, try to look at patterns between the different cards, and those will be accurate channeled messages for you as well. Now with the suit of Pentacles, the way I was taught from the book that I read in the very beginning, there's 4 different suits in the tarot deck, and each suit represents an element. The first element being fire, which is the suit of Wands. The second element being earth, which is the suit of Pentacles. The third suit being swords, which is the suit of, which is air energy. And the final suit being cups, which is water energy. So where fire is more so about spirit and action and passion and energy itself, Pentacles is more grounded, it's more physical. It talks about the body, it talks about the earth, it talks about money. Pentacles talk about time and effort, and it's a slower energy. It's a nurturing energy. It's more feminine than it is masculine. And the pentacle energy is all about like atoms working together, or different small parts coming together for a whole, to complete a full picture. It's the pieces to a puzzle. It's the grains of rice, or the bags of money, or the sands of time. They talk about accumulating things, and Pentacles are also about loss and abandonment sometimes, because that's the opposite of having those pentacles, those coins. They talk about the work we do, so it's definitely a career suit, and it's a finances suit, and it talks about family and abundance and hard work and working intelligently. It talks about education. Whereas the wands are more about getting things started and working hard and persevering and being innovative. The pentacles are about doing things that have been tried and true. It's a meticulous attention to detail, and it's something that is tested to be already fruitful or abundant. So it is one of the education energies in the deck, particularly the 3 or the 8 of Pentacles. And yeah, I would say that this, whenever you see Pentacles in a reading, say for example, if you're doing a 10-card tarot spread, which is what most people do, that's the standard kind of tarot reading format. Say, for example, you notice a pentacle or two, or maybe even a lot of pentacles. You know that we're talking a little bit about money, or a little bit about time, or we're talking a little bit about, all the elements that make up the earth, So when you don't see pentacles in a reading, it means we're not really talking about their physical world as much for that person. We may be talking more about their mind with the swords, or their emotions with the cups, and their relationships. We may be talking about their efforts, their passions, their goals with the wands, or their spirituality. Whereas the pentacles talk about things that we have in our hands, things we can hold on to, and things that, we can interact with the environment itself. So that's a beautiful thing about Pentacles. It gives weight to a reading, it gives life to a reading, and it also gives substance to the reading, material things as well. So let's talk about the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is an ace. So like all the other aces, it talks about opportunity. It's potential energy. So it's the potential of all those things I've just talked about with the earth energy. This is the very first startup. And oftentimes when I see an Ace of Pentacles, you can default to keywords such as new job, new financial opportunity, a big chunk of money coming into your hands, a gift, an offer. Other times you can look at an Ace of Pentacles, depending on other cards in the reading, and you might think, oh, this gift is the gift of life. Maybe it's a baby. Maybe it's someone getting pregnant. Maybe it's a offer that's associated with a contract. But what's interesting about an Ace of Pentacles is it's usually, slow to start. And my favorite way to look at an Ace of Pentacles, regardless of all the, predictive things that it can be in someone's reading, is that it's a seed. It's the golden seed that can be planted in the garden, watered and nurtured, and cultivated into more pentacles, So it's a long-lasting opportunity. Whereas the Ace of Fire, the Ace of Wands, that wand is going to burn up someday, or break down, or it's a cut piece of wood. So it's limited with how much passion and fuel and energy that it provides. The Ace of Pentacles can continue to grow if nurtured. The Ace of Pentacles can last a lifetime or even multiple generations. Just one seed of intention, with that seed being the intention that you have, it can last lifetimes. And that's the beautiful thing about an Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Cups shares that in common. Love can last a lifetime. Love is also eternal. But the Ace of Swords is more fleeting. It's a moment of truth. It's a moment of victory. It represents a moment in general. So we see the wands and the swords being masculine energy, which is like action and potential, and it represents a lot of different things, masculine energy, but in this case, potential and action. The pentacle energy and the cup energy, which are both considered more feminine, are more vast. They represent the ocean, they represent the earth. It's very interesting. Anyway, I'm getting a little bit off topic there. The Ace of Pentacles keywords would be new job, new beginning that can last a long time, a long-term opportunity, money coming in, a gift, an offering, a pregnancy, and just it's talking about everything that the earth is. We have the Two of Pentacles here. This is a card where someone is kind of juggling two pentacles, and they're seen to be dancing around. Sometimes there's an ocean with waves in the background in this picture. In this background there's a mountain with some bushes with flowers on it. But it's a card of, like, sometimes it represents entertainment because it's a juggler, Sometimes it represents needing to adapt or be flexible. It is a 2, so it represents decisions. It also represents partnerships, contracts. You might not be in a partnership with somebody, but you may have some form of obligation to somebody or to a business or to a company, and each of those pentacles represents a separate obligation or pursuit or financial avenue. You have 2 of something financial, 2 of something substantial that you have to deal with. These 2 substantial things don't have to have anything to do with money, but you have to juggle both of them, and both of them require your attention and time. They're both seeds that have to be grown, So the Two of Pentacles talks about priorities, having to prioritize what's important. Do I juggle this one more, or do I juggle the other one more? Do I stop juggling and just focus on one of these pentacles, or is it more profitable for me to handle both? It's not a permanent state of being. You can't just juggle things 24/7 for years on end. It's a temporary energy. So it represents a moment in time, usually about 6 weeks to 2 months or less, where you have to make a decision that's going to change the way you handle your money, your time, your finances, your efforts, your intentions. And it's also a card of having fun, like finding a way to play with, find joy and to play with what it is that you have to handle. There's the infinity symbol in the card itself, between the 2 pentacles. So, we're always, perpetually picking up something and putting something else down, and then picking something else up and then putting something else down. We can only really focus on one thing at a time. And with the juggling, it's like you're switching your focus back and forth rapidly, and it divides your attention. So it is divided attention, Whereas if you were to focus on one intention, you see how the pentacle is larger in this card. Typically that it's an energy of, like, this one will grow more effortlessly because you're giving it the attention and love that it deserves. But you have to play it safe with pentacles. You have to be practical with pentacles, and sometimes that means having multiple opportunities going at once so that you can see which one is actually going to be fruitful. So keywords for the Two of Pentacles would be adaptability, balance, having to juggle certain things, having to make a decision about finances or money. It's a temporary energy. It's my 6 weeks to 2 months card. It represents good news is coming, and you're going to have to make some changes because of that good news. So that's really cool. I love that card. It doesn't come out very often because I'm not sure why it doesn't come up very often, but I've noticed that it doesn't come up very often in readings, at least from people that I've read for. We have the Three of Pentacles. So threes are about getting closer to a completion, closer to a 4. Threes are about the power of 3, the power of the triangle. It's group energy. It's 2 or more people. So the Three of Pentacles is all those things that are the number 3. It's a magic energy. It's a potential. It's like a sweet spot, basically, when you're in the zone. And in this case, in the Three of Pentacles, we have an artist drawing a nude model. And we also have somebody who's like admiring the artwork or potentially giving advice. But essentially there's three people in this card, so it is a group energy. It talks about collaborating, working together, bouncing out ideas off of each other. It talks about editing and revising and careful attention to detail. That's a creativity card. You know, it talks about creating things, being an artist. It also talks about just working, you know, applying yourself to some work. So it is a typical, you know, job card. Like when this card comes up, it means usually someone's dealing with a job or a contract, because it has paper in the card in the reading. So any time a card has paper or a book or a scroll in it, it does reference contracts and things that are written. And the Three of Pentacles is all about collaborating and working together and all of that as well. So it's a very simple card, but it can have lots of different meanings. So I would say keywords for Three of Pentacles would be creativity, work, job, contracts is how I've typically used it as a contract card in readings, as well as being interested in what you're doing, you know, paying the bills kind of job, but also the potential for something more in your career, because you only have Three Pentacles there. You know, it's kind of like a starter energy in career. And definitely it talks about working together when it comes to relationships. It talks about getting along and having friends and having, you know, the healthy banter of other people around you. You know, specifically in love readings, they can talk about dating, getting to know someone, going out shopping, that type of thing. So the Four of Pentacles is in the center here. This is a very traditional symbolism of the Four of Pentacles. It shows an individual with a pentacle on their head, almost like a crown, a pentacle being held in front of their chest and their belly, gripped upon by both hands, and then two pentacles at the feet. So it's a card of more wealth, financial stability. It's about conservative energy, being conservative, safe, protecting your money, saving your money, saving your time, protecting yourself in general, and particularly protecting your heart, your emotions, having money on the mind, being money focused with that pentacle on top of the head, having your feet squarely planted in the ground on top of those pentacles, so you've rooted yourself within some type of foundation or security or wealth. Out of all of the pentacle cards, this is one that's most centered around money, I would say, where other cards have money being part of it, but also there's other themes associated with it. It's still only 4 pentacles though, so it's not like a huge amount of money. It's a supply of money that will go down if you spend it and won't increase. It talks about like basically a plateau of money. It's neither increasing or decreasing. It's being conserved. It's being saved. And that kind of conservative, like somewhat maybe even stingy or greedy behavior that can be associated with the Four of Pentacles can lead to the next energy, which is the Five of Pentacles, which is poverty. So we go from having an idea, an intention, a seed to plant, an opportunity in finances or abundance. Then we go into a 2, which is, having to make decisions around that, having to adapt, change, allowing, whatever that's growing the best to pursue that, and handling multiple opportunities at once. Then we have the 3, where we're bound to something, we're responsible for something, it requires our attention, our focus. It's group energy when we're working together with other people. It's a job, all those things. The Four of Pentacles is talking about saving money, conserving money, protecting yourself, protecting what's yours. Then the Five of Pentacles is when, it's that five energy, that change, that chaos. So it's poverty when it comes to Pentacles. It represents homelessness or abandonment, being on the outside of the church, being outside in the cold, out in the cold weather with the snow. It's a dire situation to be in. It's the low of the low. It's when our material world is responding to some type of deep wound within us that is expressing lack. And it's a hard place to get out of. Oftentimes you just need a little bit of help to get out of that place, to get started. Sometimes you can't just dig yourself out of that hole on your own. And that's why the Six of Pentacles is next to the Five, because that's a card of generosity and a card of being supportive and helpful and giving to other people, being charitable. So we go from poverty and being outside of a church to a charity energy in the Six of Pentacles. And it's interesting how that dynamic works in the tarot. So where the Five is about being bankrupt or broke or losing money or being abandoned and all of that, the Six of Pentacles is about charity, support, help, giving money, giving and receiving. It also can be seen as breadcrumb energy, like only giving a little bit where you're keeping most of it for yourself. But that comes with a lot of negative connotation. I don't think breadcrumbing is always the way to look at that card. But it is only Six Pentacles. Like, it doesn't mean overgiving, at all. You don't want to overgive with that card because you only have Six Pentacles out of 10. You're just ahead of like halfway through the Pentacles suit, so you don't know how much money you're going to need in the future. And that's what leads to the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles is all about tending to your money, watching it grow. You're not holding on to it and stifling it in the Four of Pentacles. You're actually nurturing it with the Seven of Pentacles and cultivating the money and saving it and investing it. And it's a pretty good chunk of money, that Seven of Pentacles. It's this well-developed monstera potted plant here. It can be transplanted and moved somewhere else. It's valuable enough that the money will follow wherever it goes. So the Seven of Pentacles is an energy of like growing things, with the plants being in here, of farming, of mass producing in some way. It also talks about investments of energy and time. In fact, it's ruled by Saturn, I believe, which is like the Capricorn-like energy. It's all about Saturn is the father of time. So Seven of Pentacles, it does have like a traditional tarot symbolism of being a time card, like having to wait for something to grow, having to wait for the fruits of your labor to blossom on the right season at the right time. Putting that effort in and carefully tending to it, watching it, reviewing it, not taking your eyes off of it, So it does definitely requires patience, and especially if you see in a reading like a Temperance card and a Seven of Pentacles, that just means there's a lot of time that's either gone by or still needs to happen in a reading. Or even a Moon card, which talks about time as well. So, Pentacles can talk about money, effort, time in general. So I like how the Seven of Pentacles is kind of centered around that. So there's only so much you can do with this chunk of money with the Seven of Pentacles. It's going to continue to grow. You might get a really good harvest. You can reinvest the next amount of money you make into an even bigger crop the year after. But it's playing it kind of safe energy. Like you're not making any huge investments with the Seven of Pentacles. Like it's not a huge payoff over time. It's like a really steady energy. So then that's why a lot of people move into the Eight of Pentacles, which is like going back to school. or developing innovative projects, or creating items or products out of those crops that people want to use in their own life. It's like the craftsman card, similar to the Three of Pentacles, but this is kind of more in your own time, your own genius, your own energy. For the Three of Pentacles, you have to work within some type of parameters that might have to deal with a contract. The Eight of Pentacles is more like doing your own thing. So this is a card of education, higher education, school, university. It's also a work and career card, so it talks about your job, it talks about the work you're putting into something. In this card, you can see someone's on a laptop and they're designing pentacles, and then you can see the pentacles they've designed, you know, stacked up on the side of their wall here. So, you know, in the other traditional deck, the one that I showed in the Wands reading, it shows someone with a hammer hammering the pentacles and basically, you know, being a blacksmith. So it does talk about the trades, it does talk about university and college and all of that. It talks about the effort you put in. You know, that's like the essence of the card, is all that effort you have to put in, all that learning, all that skilled labor. And it really pays off. Like the Eight of Pentacles is when you can really change your life. You can really flip your money into something even more valuable than the practical Seven of Pentacles. And that's what leads to the Nine of Pentacles. In the Nine of Pentacles, we see someone who's just simply gardening, out there communing with nature. There's a bird on her hat. She's got some carrots that she's grown, and she's got these beautiful tomatoes on vines, and she's got 9 pentacles all around her. It's interesting. Like the Nine of Pentacles is getting some serious wealth now. This is when you're self-made, independent, self-employed. This is when you have so much money that you can retire or take time off and enjoy the finer things in life. It's when you actually invest money and you get some serious payoff for those investments. The Nine of Pentacles is like kind of having made it, you know. It's 9 out of 10 pentacles. You can't really get any better than that, except for the 10. And the 9 does talk about just wealth, bigger investments. You know, when it's reversed, it can talk about really big financial losses, but not always. But yeah, looking at the upright meanings, keywords would be independence. You know, it is one of the single energies in the tarot. It also talks about, you know, being self-reliant and self-made, and, you know, just having a lot of resources, having luxuries, the quality of life, and appreciating them, not, you know, underappreciating them at all. Like, you appreciate what you have, type of thing. She's nurturing that garden. And it talks about all types of different metaphors when it comes to growing food and gardening and all of that, which is beautiful. You know, when you see a Nine of Pentacles in a reading, that person's got money, you know. I don't see it often in readings, to be honest. We have the Ten of Pentacles. The Ten of Pentacles is the most money, you know, and it's also the way that the pentacles are aligned. It symbolizes the Tree of Life, which has some very esoteric weight to it. You know, the Tree of Life is from the Kabbalah, and there's lots of rich symbolism in the Tree of Life, but it talks about all different parts of our life coming together as a whole. You know, it talks about the family. You know, this is a very, very much a family card. There's all kinds of family members in the card. There's even some pets, you know. It talks about generational wealth, generations in general. You know, it talks about a lifetime, or 10 years at least, you know. It's a big expanse of time. It's, you know, it's different generations of wealth and of people. It also talks about companies and businesses and corporations, and it does talk about inheritance for some people. It talks about family generational like traumas as well. Like, you see the Ten of Pentacles and it's reversed and there's all kinds of swords around it, you know you're talking about family trauma, you know, that type of thing. It's a really abundant card, and I find it difficult to read in a reading, because you can't just look at a 9 or a 10 of Pentacles and think, oh, this person's rich, why do they need a reading? You can't do that. You know, they may have money, but it might be complicated, or their money might be in different ways, or maybe we're talking about their family, or we're talking about their lifestyle that has nothing to do with money. So you got to be careful just assuming Pentacles are just talking about money sometimes, even though they work so beautifully that way. The Ten of Pentacles is the ending. It's the 10. And, you know, out of all the 10s in the Minor Arcana, it's one of the abundant and positive ones. You know, it's the longest lasting energy. And oftentimes when you open up a fresh new tarot deck, the suit of Pentacles will either be the second suit or it'll be the last suit. And the Ten of Pentacles, therefore, being the last card in that suit. So it is kind of like a happy ending, like the end of a chapter, the beginning of another chapter type of energy. So oftentimes when I see a Ten of Pentacles, I can think of retirement or ending a job on a good terms, you know, or basically job changes in general. Two of Pentacles can talk about that as well. Three of Pentacles can, you know, you have to really feel out intuitively what they're talking about by using the hints in these cards. And if you see multiple Pentacle cards, we're really focusing on that. If you just see one, then maybe it's talking more about the energy of that card than actual finances and money. Okay, so getting into the Court cards, what do they all have in common? Well, they're all focused. They all pay careful attention to detail. They're all practical. You know, the Page of Pentacles is like a new beginning. It's good news. It's a student card. You know, this person's ready to learn. It's also a card of focus and adoring and adoring what you have in front of you, like really loving what you're doing, feeling inspired and focused, and you know, so it's a really good job card. You know, it really means that like you're going to enjoy that new job or something like that, or you're kind of fresh in your field, or you know, you have lots to learn still. Oftentimes pages hold a benchmark in a reading for representing a child or a sibling or someone who's young. Even if you're older and your siblings are older, you know, your siblings can still be represented by pages and other court cards, but you know, sometimes I find pages often represent children for somebody, or people who are the same age as them that they consider they still see them as their childlike self because they grew up with them as children, versus like other people who are the same age as you who are kings and queens, where it's like you respect them and know them as an adult. You know, the Page of Pentacles could be like a lifelong friend that you've had and you always stay young at heart with them, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't think of it as too complicated a card. To me, it's all about focusing on your goals, focusing on your school, your education, your learning, and being kind and good-natured and optimistic and happy and all of that. The Knight of Pentacles is very sturdy and stable. It's very grounded. It's a farming energy. It's like attending to the fields, like it's a workhorse type of energy. So it does talk about career. Now, the Knight of Pentacles plays an interesting role in tarot readings for me as a reader, because it usually represents property, assets, homes that are worth money, or a job change. So it's usually like some of the big topics that come up in readings for money. So whenever you see a Knight of Pentacles, it means, aha, there's something valuable that is shifting from one place to the next because it's on a horse, you know? And when it's reversed, it's my stuck in the mud energy. It's like the horse fell down in the mud and it's not going anywhere. So, you know, it can be a very slow-moving energy, whether it's upright or reversed. But it holds a lot of value. The Knight of Pentacles is so valuable. So that's why it talks about assets for me. Anyway. We have the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, sometimes people regard the Knight of Pentacles as being a spirit guide as well. I've heard that quite often. Somebody who doesn't really have any motive except for to see you grow. So the Queen of Pentacles is someone, a feminine energy more, whereas the Page and Knight are more androgynous. The Queen is very much divine feminine, you know, whether that's male or female, it just represents feminine traits. And I'll just say, you know, for the purposes of this video, like I'll just call her she. You know, the Queen of Pentacles, she's, you know, rich in experience. She understands what's healthy and what's good for a family and for a business. She knows how to pay attention to details but still stay focused on the task at hand. She's a career woman or a career man, you know, or, you know, she also represents home, the ability to create a beautiful home, a beautiful life for a family. She's like Mother Earth energy, you know, goddess energy. And you know, where the Page represents all of the Earth suit and the Knight represents mutable energy, which is kind of like a term used in astrology. The Queen represents cardinal energy, which is also a term in astrology that represents someone who is very much like they really embody that element. They really are noticeable in that element. So they're very nurturing. You know, they're very giving. Just like how Pentacles represents that. Oftentimes it's a mother card, or an aunt, you know, or a daughter. And oftentimes it is a business owner, or all of the above, you know. There's more to the Queen of Pentacles, but that's kind of just how I've read her in the tarot, you know. She also kind of talks about self-worth and self-value, similar to an Empress card. She's practical, but she can be bitter. She can be stubborn. The Pentacles are not as stimulating as the Wands are. They're not as creative as the Cups. They're not as analytical or quick-witted as the Swords. But they hold a lot of weight. They hold a lot of sway. They have a lot of influence. And they know how to nurture and take care of themselves first, which is really important in life. The King of Pentacles is the last card in the court system. You know, the kings represent mastery, but both kings and queens can represent similar things. So the King of Pentacles is usually about corporations or bosses or jobs, and the Queen of Pentacles can also be that, all of that as well. The King of Pentacles is, you know, someone who is in the top of their field. They've got money to prove it. They've got evidence and awards and things in their name. They've got assets. They've got a family, or they've got a lot of the things in the material world that anybody would want. They have a rich life. You know, it's a wealth card, and it's very wealth driven. You know, it's a fixed energy, so it's very stubborn. It's very much, once you're a King of Pentacles, you usually stay a King of Pentacles, unless you get involved in addictions, which can bring a King of Pentacles down very quickly. And it's hard to change a King of Pentacles. A Queen of Pentacles might adapt more easily than a King will. So yeah, that's what I've got for the Court cards and for the Ace all the way to the 10. I hope you enjoyed this video so far. If you have, please hit a thumbs up button and comment below and let me know what you thought. We'll close this tarot lesson by talking about the major arcana that I've selected. These major arcana have earth energy in them. The Magician and the Hermit have Virgo in them. The Empress and the Hierophant and the World and the Wheel of Fortune all have Taurus energy. And the Devil and the World both have Capricorn energy. So it's very interesting. You know, the Magician is very much seen as an air sign card or a Gemini card only. But it's a Mercury card, actually. It's ruled by the planet Mercury. And Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. And they're both very analytical. They're both very, mercurial. And the Magician brings what's down up in the heavens down into the earth. You know, you can see how they're pointing up in the sky and they're pointing down at the ground. So it definitely is an air and earth vibe. It has all four elements within it because of the four suits on top of the table that the Magician is working with here. The sword, the cup, the wand, the pentacle. But it's more than just that. It's about bridging connections, and I go into more detail about each one of these major arcana in my major arcana video that I've made already on my channel, but I just wanted to let you know that this can be seen as an earth energy because of the heaven and earth connection. The Empress is a Taurus energy. She's also Libra energy. So Taurus and Libra are both about sensuality and about love, but Taurus is more about money. So the Empress is also about money. And, the Empress does talk about fertility and abundance in general. And, she's got fields of grass around her and trees in the background and crystals coming out of the ground. And she's very, well off and influential, So it's definitely like a very, Taurine financial type card. And it represents so many other things in the tarot, but I'm just kind of talking about the earth part of it. The Hierophant is ruled by Taurus as well. And the Hierophant is, the structure, the organization, the wealth that's been, the wealth of knowledge, basically. Like, it does talk about wealth and abundance, but more so in the form of knowledge and tradition and family established practices, rituals, ways of living that have been shaped by abundance. So that's pretty interesting. It's an education card, and so is the Pentacles, does talk about education. The Hermit card, is a Virgo energy. The Hermit card talks about, there's a laptop in this card, actually, in this modern witch tech. And it does talk about, connecting to the world through knowledge, by communicating with your environment. But it is like a solo energy. It's more, when it comes to the earth element and Pentacles in general, I would say Hermit's more spiritual than that. It doesn't really talk about money. It doesn't really talk about the element of earth that much. It kind of talks about, like, basically detaching from earth, detaching from the material plane, detaching from the people around you so you can reach some type of sage status and have lots of knowledge and all of that. So it's like removing yourself from the earth energy, basically. So the Wheel of Fortune is a Sagittarius card, and it has all four fixed signs in all four corners of the card, one of them being Taurus energy. So it does have a little bit of earth energy in it. But I'm not going to talk about that card very much because it gets brought up in the Major Arcana video. The Wheel of Fortune is always about a change in your situation or a change in karma. And that does have, worldly and material-like repercussions for some people. it does require time as well, which is a Pentacles energy. So we have the Devil, which is Capricorn. It's very much an earth energy, being chained to the earth, chained to our desires, being chained to money, being manipulated, and the power behind and the greed behind money. It's a very powerful card. If you master the Devil energy, then you're just like a Capricorn. You're like a CEO type of energy. It talks about being a master over other people, and about a master over yourself. So it's definitely about the darkness that's associated with money and abundance, and the more primal energies about earth in general. And it's interesting. It's a really complex card. It talks about so many other things than what I've just talked about, but I'm just talking about the earth element part of it. The World card. Well, I just want to say this one last thing about the Devil. When you see the Devil, it can talk about having lots of money, or being in a very powerful position within your money, or also being a slave to your job, so to speak. The Hierophant and the Empress are also very, very rich, but sometimes the Hierophant removes themselves from the money, and even though they have lots of it, it's not about the money for them. The Hermit card usually lets go of all of their money and doesn't focus on it at all. The Magician is usually about trying to acquire money and manifest more of it into your life. And the World card is all about I would say completions. It's about, it's a Capricorn energy. So it's like being on top of the world, being at the top of your success, the top of your game, and, celebrating that victory, that completion. It's when you've achieved material desires and you've achieved, a lot of things in your life, and then you're kind of free from those desires all of a sudden. Now you might desire something else. And the World card is about, the actual world itself, the globe, Mother Earth herself. And it also talks about the sky, because she's flying through the sky. So it can be an ungrounded energy, can be an energy of flying from one location on Earth to the next. It can talk about portals, opening of one doorway into another reality. It can, it's very interesting. The World card also talks about micro and macrocosms, but I won't really go into that very much. All right, well, that's what I've got for your Earth Energy Tarot lesson. I hope you found it useful. I kind of went through this one a little bit more quickly than I did with the Wands, and that's because the suit of Wands excites me more. It's my favorite suit. The suit of Pentacles is, has a lot of desirable things in it that people want to talk about in readings. But it also can be a source of pain for a lot of people, and frustration and stagnancy. And it's not my favorite suit, And I like reading the swords as well. I think the swords are very complex, and they help us move through pain and teach us about moving through pain and mental health. And then the cups are kind of so positive and so dreamy and happy and lovey-dovey that I have a hard time relating to those as well, because that's not always people's reality. And it does talk about being a little bit removed from reality, the cups energy anyway. It's a more psychic realm. So that's my opinion about these cards anyway. I hope you take this lesson and learn something from it, and maybe watch it again and learn new things from it the second time around. My goal is to have all these tutorial tarot lessons posted on my channel by the springtime, so then when people come to me in my personal practice and want to learn tarot, then I can refer them to these videos, and I can also give them tutoring lessons, and kind of they can work together by using all the different resources. So that's my goal by making these videos. I'm also hoping that they do well on YouTube in general, but that's kind of just like a background hope. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you enjoyed this session, and I'll be around again in the next week or two for your upcoming video on the Suit of Swords, the air element.